everyone, my name is Chloe, and today I'm here to do my book haul and unhaul from January 2023. So I used to do these regularly and call them in and outs, and then I started not unhauling as much and hauling a little too much, and trying to keep track of how many books was on my shelf got really overwhelming, so I kind of stopped. But this month I've got a really good mix here. I've got 5 that I'm unhauling and 6 that I'm hauling, but I've already read 2 of them. So I feel like this is like a good month, and we're going to do it all together. So we're just going to get started with the unhauls. So you guys might know that I just recently started a Pango bookstore, and you guys, I'm obsessed with it. If you guys don't know what it is, Pango Books is a website or an app, or I think you can probably do both, but where you can buy books and sell books. And when you sell books, you get Pango dollars. It just kind of goes into your account, so then you can buy more books. And it is the best book swap ever. And a lot of YouTube creators are on there, and so you can buy books from your favorite creators, and it's just so fun to trade them back and forth that I'm really excited to unhaul some of these, even though I feel bad getting rid of them. So let's just get into it. So the first one I'm going to unhaul is Dear Wife by Kimberly Belle. So I think this is my second Kimberly Belle that I have read and not loved, and I think she maybe just is not the author for me. This one is a thriller about a woman who's on the run from her abusive husband and a husband looking for his missing wife. You're led to assume they're the same person. There's some plot twists, but it was a very dull, basic thriller for me, and this one has a 4.0 rating, so I know I'm not the majority opinion on this one, but it's just not for me. And with that high of a rating, somebody else is going to enjoy this more than I did. Next is another one that has an uber high rating, and it's What the Wind Knows by Amy Harmon. And this one is in pristine condition because I listened to it on audio, and so it's an unread book, and I hate getting rid of it, but this is about it's a historical romance about a woman who, present day, it's 2001 or something, and her grandfather is her beloved grandfather. He's the one who raised her, and he is about to pass on, and so she then is transported back into the early 20s, 1921 in Ireland. And because she goes in 2001 to spread his ashes, and she's transported back in time, and now she is the mother of her 6-year-old grandfather. Her grandfather is 6 years old. She is in the role of his mother, and she has a romance. And I just don't love historical romance in general. This plot was very slow. It's a very emotional romance because you're set in the time of the Irish Revolution, and the stakes are high, but for me it just was kind of a slog. And at the end I was oh, that was a sweet story, but during it I was not interested, and so I know I won't read this again. And again, it's a pristine copy of a really well-loved book, so I'm going to pass it on to somebody else. Next is North of Beautiful by Justina Chen Headley, and this is about a young girl who was born with a port wine stain on her face, and so she's got a very blaring birthmark, and for that reason she works out all the time, wears tons of makeup, does everything within her power to make her appearance more socially acceptable because she can't change her port wine stain. And so it's that. She also has an abusive father and a mother who is morbidly obese, potentially because of the abuse. And there's a lot of conversation around bodies and all of that. And she definitely is a compulsive exerciser and has some orthorexia going on. And none of that is discussed. And I feel it is just the way she is, which is fine, but I think it does a disservice to our young girls to say that that isn't something that we need to talk about. And so she has a romance with this boy he is a boy that has been adopted from China because he has a cleft lip, I think. And so it's them kind of figuring out that beauty is more than skin deep. But I feel it really missed the mark on a lot of different conversations that it could have had. And so I'm going to take this off my shelves. Next is Breathe by Abbi Glines, and I did not read this, and I just found it on my shelves. I think I've unhauled the other parts of the series because it is a sea breeze novel, and these are just a little more steamy, new adulty than I'm into, so I'm going to pass these on to somebody who will enjoy it. And then the last one is Dreamland by Nicholas Sparks. So this one is about a man, I guess. He is a farmer because he kind of needs to be. Lives with his sister, and it's his aunt and he that farm. And he's a musician. He loves music. And so every summer or something, he goes to St. Pete's Beach for a while and plays music. And he meets this girl who's kind of an up-and-coming musician herself. She is about to go to Nashville and try to make it big, and it's their romance. But then there's also a storyline of a mother and her son running from, again, an abusive man. And I was far more interested in the mother-son storyline, and yet that is a minor part of this book. And we don't get enough of it. And then the way the stories converge happens at the very end, and I was really unsatisfied by it. It uses a plot device that I really don't like seeing in books, and I just was not, it just kind of ruined what was already just a mediocre book for me. So I don't know if Nicholas Sparks is not the author for me. There's a couple that I love because of nostalgia, but for the most part, I don't know. So those are the 5 that I'm unhauling. So my Pango Books is always linked down below. If you want to pick up any of these for yourself, go ahead and go down there. I would love to send it to you. So next, let's get into the 6 that I'm hauling for the month. So these first 4 were all sent to me by the publisher. So thank you so much to Forever Publishing, because they're just the best. The first one is Starting Over on Sunshine Corner by Phoebe Mills. And now I think this is a part of a series, but they're like companion books. And this is a busy single mom, a laid-back bachelor, one forgettable night that changes their friendship and their lives forever. So I think it's maybe like a one-night stand that results in a baby. And I don't know. I mean, I love single parent stories, but the one night stand thing, I don't know that I like. But building a family, I think from what I remember that these are generally pretty closed door and pretty sweet stories. And so if I'm going to read a romance, I like that. And sometimes these mass markets are just what I need to make me feel productive, because they're less than 300 pages. They're pretty easy to read. And so there's this one. Next is 1,000 Miles to Graceland by Kristen May Chase, the mother-daughter road trip that has them all shook up. And I just love this. I love the idea. The journey of 1,000 miles begins with sequins and a beehive wig in this sharply funny and achingly tender debut about mothers, daughters, and the surprising power of Elvis. And I just think this sounds so fun. It's about Grace Johnson. She can't escape the feeling that her life is on autopilot, which, you guys, my word of 2023 is peace. So I'm all about autopilot. I love the idea of autopilot. But anyway, until her husband announces he's done with their marriage, Grace has a choice: wallow in humiliation or reluctantly grant her outlandish mother's 70th birthday wish with a road trip to Graceland. Buckle up, Elvis. We're on our way. So this sounds so good. And it's interesting. Most of the time when I'm reading mother-daughter stories, I put myself in the role of the mother because I'm deep in the throes of motherhood. I've got a 4, 2, and 5-month-old, and this one will allow me to kind of put myself back into the daughter's shoes, and I just think it's so fun. And Elvis was my grandmother is a big fan of Elvis, and with Lisa Marie Presley just dying lately, I feel like Elvis is kind of back in the news right now, and this is just very timely. So I'm really excited to read this. Next is The Forever Family by Shirley Jump, and this one is about 3 sisters, which is such a buzzword for me because I have 3 daughters, and that dynamic is just something that I find so fascinating. And personally, anecdotally, when I was pregnant with my 3rd, and people would ask me is it a boy or a girl? And I said girls. They were like, oh, I was one of 3 girls, and they would have horror stories about it and how one's always left out and girls get catty. And so I really like to hear stories that are hopefully more uplifting. And I don't know if that's what this is going to be, but a heartwarming story about the bond between sisters falling in love and the discovery that life's greatest adventures are made with those who matter most. So the youngest of the 3 close-knit sisters, Emma Monroe, is the family wild child, which my youngest, my 3rd, is only 5 months old, and I don't know, but she is the most relaxed, chill baby, and my 2nd is kind of the wild child, so it's interesting. It's just interesting, how I'll identify with this, but she's never stayed with anything, apartment, job, boyfriend for long, and she likes it that way, except lately her freedom has seemed less like a gift and more like a burden. So she goes to a yoga retreat in Vegas, and I think marries somebody named Luke Carter, who she's met 3 times. And so I think it's really interesting. She then, I think, is not interested in keeping the marriage. She wants to annul the marriage, and he's like, no, let's give this a go. And I just think it's going to be really interesting. And like I said, I love kind of that sister bond. I love the idea of like him really pursuing her, and I hope this is really great. Next is one of my most anticipated reads, and this one comes out February 21st, and this is The Little Wartime Library. So this is about a woman, I think in London, 1944, Clara Button is a librarian, and she makes this like underground library and kind of like hang out in the tube station during the war. And I think that just sounds so interesting. And yeah, I don't want to know much more, but a heartwarming story of how friendship and the written word sustain us in the toughest times. So really excited for this one. Then the last two are ones that I've received different ways, but I have read both of them. So they will go directly onto these shelves that are a crazy mess. And so the first one is Brave by Svetlana. I'm not even going to attempt the last name, but I have read this one. This is a middle grade graphic novel, and this is one that I got from Amanda from the Curly Reader. You guys, if you don't watch her, she is just the best thing ever, and she, over Vlogmas, was doing 12 days of giveaways, and this is one that I got from that, and it is a copy that I'm really excited to have on my shelves and read with my girls when they get a little bit older. It's about middle school and being brave and being yourself, and I loved it. So good. And then the last one is Spare by Prince Harry. So I've read this, and kind of a hot take. I didn't love it. Kind of not a hot take. It looks like Goodreads ratings are kind of getting low. So this is Prince Harry's story from himself. But okay, so I didn't love it. But I love this cover, and like, look at him. How adorable is that? And my sister got me this, and so I'm going to keep it on my shelf. I listened to it on audio. And I don't know, I might try to physically read it. The chapters are super short, and I'm interested in what the experience would be like listening versus reading, because at times it felt very like just jarring, kind of the way he told the story, and I wonder if it would be that way if I read it physically. So this one's going to go on my shelves for maybe trying again later. So that is everything that I'm hauling and unhauling for the month of January. It is January 29th, and I'm hoping like that I don't get any Pango orders or anything, because I can't remember if I placed any. So we'll see. But if so, I'll get them in next month's video. So thank you so much for watching. We'll see you in the next one.